Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the New Earth Love podcast. We have a very special episode today. I have the wonderful Iris, aka Kyaron. Did I
Yes.
pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And today's episode is a collaboration
Indeed.
between the No Layers podcast and the New Earth podcast.
Yes.
Would you like to explain very briefly what your podcast is all about?
Yes. So my podcast is called No Layers, Mom, Without Layers or No Layers. And it is basically about really showing myself vulnerably in how I've been unlayering those layers of everything that I was that was not the real me, to arrive at the core of my true being. And I want to interview interesting people where I have seen this process myself, them going through. And one of them is my beautiful friend Ra, which I met, and he was a complete different person. And for me, he's the best example of someone who really went deep into the unlayering process. And today I have met him again since a couple of months. And again, he's a complete new version of himself. And I think we're getting really deep into the core of a true divine masculine embodiment here. And this is why I really want to give the world the opportunity to hear his story, because I think it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the New Earth podcast, for those who are tuning in for the first time, is all about healing and evolving the trust and the understanding between the feminine and the masculine to spiral up together. And by doing that, creating more love, more peace in the world.
Yes.
And so this is going to be a fusion between Kyaron interviewing me and I'm going to interview you.
Yes.
So from my side, for the New Earth podcast, New Earth Love podcast, it's about trust through authenticity, through really vulnerably sharing our stories and showing that we are all just human, right?
Yes, it's all about that.
Yeah. I've done a couple of podcasts already with our beautiful friend Fari, and they all went in the same way, just like starting to talk and tuning into a certain frequency. And I really have this deep belief and desire that not only what we speak, but how we speak, the way we communicate, that this is transmitting. And
yeah, it's all about frequency and tone. And basically for me, the podcast is sharing your song, sharing your frequency, sharing your voice, because every one of us has a very unique tone and unique frequency that only you have. And lots of people are waiting for us to simply share our story, because this is where really the true gold lies, and where other people can learn from, or simply maybe not make the same mistakes. And it's about really just singing and being ourselves.
And maybe not two more things to mention before we get into the topic. We are on the edge of solstice.
Yes.
Yeah? I don't know when exactly this podcast is going to be out, because I'm still gathering material at this point.
Yeah.
But just for the energy that we are in today, we are just really in. It's sunny outside. It's really one of the nicest days I could imagine, possibly.
Yes, amazing.
And we planned also some ceremony later to connect with the solstice and stuff. So just this is the vibe of today.
Yes.
And I just want to mention this because Kyaron is also not just a wonderful person, but a wonderful artist as well. Would you briefly like to explain what you have here for us?
I chose this portal. I'm a portal painter. I'm a certified art medicine practitioner and a visionary artist. And right now, in between a lot of visionary artists, a new way of art is emerging with this. I call it the cosmic or stellar art, the multidimensional art. And literally, the canvas or the paper acts as a threshold, as a portal, as an opening from one way of being into the other. And I chose this one because for me, this really represents the new earth love. It is when we connect with our true being, with our true body, and our memories of our soul and everything that we have lived as a soul, and we embody it, um, and that we're now collectively stepping into the portal of the gold frequency, which is the free energy, the unconditional love, and it is in you. So in all of us, we have this free, golden, infinite abundance energy, and it is when the masculine and the feminine energies come together in harmony. So you see here, they're already starting to connect, and you don't see it, but in the portal behind, and I covered it, but they are already kissing. Yeah. So it also represents that in each and every one of us, there's a cell, there's a pearl that is now ready to open up and shine, which is our true innate gifts and abilities. And this is going to activate new cells in our eyes that will allow us to see a whole new reality. So the veils are very thin, especially today in solstice. And basically, we're getting rid of everything that does not allow us to see that we are already there in this new earth, on this new earth, in new bodies. And so this is an activation of the cells and the new neurons and connections of frequencies that will allow us the rebirth into our passion. So live our life through our passion. So the work and life will not be separated anymore. Mm-hmm. Our life will be our work because it will be doing what we truly love. Mm-hmm. And what we came here to do, which is simply be and share ourselves and shine. And this is going to be the new earth way of being. And we're stepping into that portal altogether now. And for that, it is really important for the masculine and the feminine to make peace and start working in harmony and seeing each other for who we are and accepting our lights and our shadows, because it's all about the integration of everything and letting the other be who they are. And this is where I want to step in already, if you allow me.
Yes.
Because when I met you, you were in a moment where you were in love and not happily in love. You were in such a deep love, and the woman who you really liked rejected you, and you were really much in that pain. And maybe if you think back of that moment and who you were at that time, that space-time continuum, what did you do in that moment? So how was your day-to-day life? How did it look like, a normal life for you?
Yes. It's interesting to go back there. It feels like ages ago, even though it's just a couple of years. I used to be very much in the left brain, in the rational thinking. I studied mathematics in university. I have a master's in mathematics. And I used to teach math classes online. This was my daily bread and butter business. And I was just starting to discover my spiritual side, my truly creative, intuitive sides. I started opening my heart around the time when we met. And this woman that you just mentioned, she was actually before my first plant medicine ceremony. I met her on a retreat. And I just had a breakup about half a year before that from a relationship. I was even married, like for almost 12 years.
12 years married.
12 years. Not married, 5 of them.
Yeah. but 12 years together with your partner,
Yes.
which is...
No, it's actually not true. More than 5 years before we got married.
Okay.
More or less. Yeah.
You just got a separation of that.
Yeah. So that was kind of still in my field, and I really started to reopen to love. And this woman just reflected back to me who I am in essence. And at that point, I had no idea about it. I was just like, I want you so much. I just love you. I just want to be with you. So she basically cracked open my heart, and we were connecting like for a few weeks, and then she was rejecting me and pulling back, went back to her ex-partner actually. And I had like months of suffering that were like necessary, because I through this connection I could channel a lot of old emotions that were in my system anyway, because I didn't feel basically the years before I didn't feel anything. I was so shut down from like protective layers. Yeah, so I was very much not like I would not have matched this podcast, the no layers. I was like just layers. I was completely identified with my ego.
Everyone matches this podcast, because also this podcast is here to unlayer maybe things about you that you didn't know before. So
so basically around the time when we first connected, you and I was like in a few weeks when I had this wake up call, also in plant medicine. It was ayahuasca in this case for the first time. I changed everything. I left a group of so-called friends that were also rejecting me at the time, because I was like really changing my vibration and my lifestyle and everything. So they didn't connect with me anymore, and I didn't connect with them. But it was painful because I did not yet have any new friends. So I was really deep getting into loneliness at that point. So I remember like a few days after the ceremony, I was selling my kite equipment. I was living in a Medano in the south of Tenerife. I had like a storage with kite equipment, with this and that, and I was like selling it just the very next day without hesitation. I was checking for new apartment on the other side of the island. I started connecting with new people. Then this new woman came into my life and all this. So I basically in all the important departments of life, I got like an earthquake, like a deep shaking. Like in terms of job, I wanted to quit straight away. I was like, yeah, but I'm not a mathematician. I don't like this. I don't know what I want to do instead. I just felt I have a calling for something else, but I could not put my finger on it. And there was really this voice inside of me, the transformative voice, and was like, okay, Flo, just drop everything and let's see what happens. But I was too scared to do it. So I was instead letting go of all the students that I really didn't like, because at that point I was still working for money. Like really, okay, I don't vibe too much with this client, but I just do it so I have my monthly income. And I was really from like 25 students that I had per week, reducing it to 6. So on 2 days, 3 students, just like doing the minimum and relying on my savings, and just completely starting a new lifestyle of self-discovery and truth and honesty, vulnerability and authenticity.
Yes.
So this was kind of the breaking point, that one of the biggest ones, I would say, around the time when we met, where where this new life started to open. Yeah.
Okay. So after that, and this is actually where we met. And for me, it was also very amazing to meet a guy that was actually so vulnerable in front of me and around me, and just simply really allowed himself to be sad, to cry. And it made me feel so safe to also be myself and to also be vulnerable, because I think we really matched frequencies there, because I was also in a state of I was in the awakening journey for many years already, but I still had this huge wall around my heart, and we have very similar maybe upbringings, not maybe the same story, but of really like not being seen as a child, and rejected and abusive, even narcissistic parents. So this made us vibe and connect a lot. And really not being happy with ourselves and not loving ourselves at the moment at where we are at. So if you would go from that point now into fast forward, touch the ankh,
Yeah.
to fast forward the next maybe really big breaking point in your journey that where you felt another layer came off. And if you would share with us for the audience and who's listening and maybe feels like, okay, so I'm here right now, and what did you do to get where you're at now? So the next breaking point and what tools allowed you to peel that layers off.
Okay, so I would say the next really important step, if we want, like it's always a curve, but like the next plateau, let's say, was when I connected with why I'm here, what I want to do purpose-wise. And it came also like in different shades, a little here, a little there. Like, okay, I'm here to work on the heart level. That was kind of the first thing, not on the mind level, but on the heart level, with empathy, with compassion. I always had this, I don't know if I want to call it ability, but it just happened that people randomly opened up to me. Still until this day, like people know me for 5 minutes and they start crying like, I have never told this story to anyone. It just kind of happens. And so being conscious, being aware of yourself is all about understanding what your essence is and what maybe is special about you, but you didn't know it before because you're just that. And then through reflection with other people, you realize, that's actually not everyone is like this. So, for instance, Fari was mirroring that to me, like that I'm not judgmental, that I just naturally hold space for everyone and their experience.
Yeah.
So, and again, also why I do this podcast, like healing the trust between the masculine and the feminine. Like what you said, like I got that feedback from more women over time, that they realize like, oh wow, there is a strong masculine presence, but vulnerable and authentic at the same time. So that's definitely one part. Why I also chose to become a relationship coach now at this point, or that's the name I give it, let's say. And when I was really completely dropping the math teaching, I started becoming a hypnotherapist and psychotherapist. So I started that program, which was also quite expensive, was the biggest expense that I have ever had, or biggest investment, let's say, that I made. But it was really like coming to me like, okay, I need to do this. And I love that work.
And I feel that really this somehow brought you into a quantum leap. I feel that since you started doing this, for me, it's the biggest change that you have made so far. So what I see is that the moment when you really decided to be of service and to give yourself to the world and invested even in gaining much more knowledge to really do it in a good way, because I know that you're a person that really gives not 100%, you give 1,000%, and you truly do the helping, or the not even helping, but really just being there and holding space from the heart.
Yes.
Like I don't think if I know anyone else that does it so from an honest place. And ironically, you're not working with women, although we need you as well. Our distorted inner masculine can really work as well with Florian, with Ra. Sorry, still getting you used to this,
name.
to your new name. But you do work with men. So who is your ideal soulmate, a person, and why did you choose to help men?
I would love to answer that.
Yeah.
But for the ones who were like curious about the tools that helped me,
yes,
I would first like to answer
of
that.
course, yes. Maybe you can combine it.
Yes, exactly. So because it's still also an ongoing journey. So really, the biggest thing that helped me is creating space.
Okay.
Not trying, just being.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing, but receiving. Not thinking, but sensing and opening myself up, like reducing input, like less social media, less input data. Not like I had really like a year where I was not watching like any movie, not listening to audiobooks and stuff, and I was really connecting just with nature, with myself, with my body, and from a place of incorporating more and more trust that the answers will come, that my true essence will come through when I give it space.
Okay.
And that's also what happened. Like I was really, this is what I can just offer to anyone who is on a breaking point of like the old life, the old identity that you've created for yourself is not working anymore, and you don't know what it is gonna be. You can't know because you're so identified with this, and knowing that this is not for you anymore is scary. Because who are you without the identity? You don't know it yet. But the only way to get to the core is by giving it space and by trusting that your being is enough, that you're a human being and not a human doing, and that the doing in the future will come from a place of, I can't even do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What Kyaron was just saying about me being so passionate about my, if you want to call it even work or purpose or the things that I do, which is mainly holding space and being with people in connection, it really doesn't come from a place of, oh, I need to create a job for myself to make money. It comes from a deep desire to get to know myself through reflection in another person. And I believe we are all one. So by helping you through questions to discover yourself, I get to know you. And this is a deep passion that I have. So it's kind of, it comes by itself. The way I have conversations, even with new people, when I start connecting with them, that's why they open up probably so quickly, because I really have a, not an interest of a mask or of a layer, how you call it in your podcast, but of the true essence that is there. And sometimes these people, most people don't know. I mean, I believe that the whole reason why we are incorporated in a physical body is to get to know ourselves.
Yes,
that
definitely.
This whole life is about becoming ourselves more and more and more. We probably are never gonna get to the core, otherwise we wouldn't be human. But as much as possible, from a human perspective, from a human point of view, who is Ra, who is Kyaron, like you would get to know a child, like you would get to know a new person, really dropping the ego, the identification with something that you try to create to become someone, and really listen inside what wants to come through. Like for it can be super simple. Like I love apples, for instance. I love walking barefoot in nature. I love listening to certain music. So just like by connecting what is enjoyable for you, what you love to do in your free time. Like if you have all the time and all the money in the world, how would you spend it? Doing more of that is gonna connect you with your purpose, and something you're passionate about will attract more passion, more excitement, more joy. And by staying in that frequency of what it is that you really desire, really love to do, and where, with whom, in what circumstances, like staying in that vibration is gonna attract more of the same.
Yes, this is actually what I do. This is actually what what I channeled. So I just because it really fits in what you're saying, I wanted to film a typical 3D portal painting course, and then everything turned out completely different. My purpose was really to connect people and inspire people to connect with their inner creator, with their inner artist, and with their purpose. So what is it that I really like to do? And sometimes you don't know, but by connecting with art or doing something new, new cells in your brain start to connect, And when you start creating things with your hands, and through body movement and through opening your voice and to simply start doing new things, you start connecting more and more with that inner essence, with that inner artist that is in you, with the inner creator, which helps you to find your passion and to be more in connection with yourself, and to start opening up to your innate gifts, because every one of us has these gifts and this creation power inside. So the portal painting is exactly when you are in this change, okay, where you are the old way is not working anymore, as you said, but the new thing has not yet arrived. In this period of time can be super vulnerable and confusing and horrible state to be in. And this is where the painting or the portal painting really helps you. It is really a threshold and a beautiful tool to alchemize everything that you are not, that you need to leave behind, and open up to this new version of yourself, to this new version of creative power, to this new way of being, and bringing the world of the unseen and your vision and your dreams that you have when you were a little child. Because for me, the inner child is also your inner artist, the one that wants to play and just be and enjoy. So you bring the world of the unseen into the seen, so into matter. Yes. So you bring what matters into matter, and you leave behind everything that doesn't matter. Yeah. So this is what my purpose is. My purpose is to connect you with your purpose and to activate your mission. And probably if you're hearing this podcast, you belong to our tribe. And also one of our common purposes to really bring the tribe together, because what I realized with you is that it is so important to get out of the having to do everything by yourself and not opening up to let yourself be held. And I mean, also what I really admire about you is that in this being that you said, I think one of the tools that really brought you where you are at is that you allowed yourself to be vulnerable and to let out the anger, to let out the sadness, to let everything out with no restriction. Because if you keep it in, then this really makes you sick. So, and in the new age spiritual community, what I see is that it is too much only about love and light and always being positive and suppressing kind of the shadow, which is really, for me, is where the gold lies. So if you allow all the dark matter that is stored in you to come up and be alchemized through art or through shouting or through hypnotherapy, whatever tool you encounter on your path, then there's more space, as you say, for your true being to come into your body, because really it is about embodying more of your true frequency and your true essence.
If I may.
Yes, of course.
It is also not about getting rid of your shadow.
Yeah.
It's not about letting go of the darkness. The bigger the light that you are is gonna show up, the bigger the shadow you cast. So it's really about dancing with your shadow,
Yes.
accepting it as a part of yourself. For me, healing is all about integration, not separation.
Yep, definitely.
It's like really there's like, I need to release, I need to cut off this part of myself is completely, in my perception, the opposite of what really works.
Yeah.
To become light.
Yeah.
Um,
Alchemize. I call it alchemize.
yeah.
Because you transform this frequency that is that is vibrating at a lower frequency, and it is not bad. This is what we made believe, that it is bad to be at that frequency. It's just elevating this lower frequencies into another state.
And what you said about the age of the lone wolf, how I call it, working mainly with men, the age of the lone wolf is done, and we are more like in the wolf pack. And by really involving each other in the process of becoming more of ourselves, being vulnerable, and showing our emotions and being received in it, heals that deep wound that comes from actually from loneliness, I would say. We all want to belong. That's our strongest human need in social circles. We want to belong. We want to be part of a group. And when we learn in early childhood that we will be rejected, punished, or anything of the kind if we show sadness, anger, fear, then we cut off this part because it's not welcome. We cover it up. We dissociate from it so that we can belong. So we create an ego, we create layers and masks around us so that we can survive. Yeah, our monkey brains are really programmed. We need to attach. We need to belong. So by in this new earth love way that I see is really like full acceptance.
Yep.
What I reject in you means I reject that in myself. But the more I love myself, which means radical acceptance of what is, the more I will do that with you. And so we can show each other a new experience of, this is not only okay if I'm alone in my cave as a lone wolf, but I can actually be as sad as I want, even for a couple of days, weeks, and months, if that needs to happen, if this is my state of being at that point, and still be loved, be received, be accepted at the same time. And this is where the tribe vibration, the community vibration is coming in. Yeah, this is what I wanted to add for this. Should I go back to the question about why I choose to work with men?
Yes, I'm just letting that sink in because that was just really powerful. Just wanting for a moment to feel like this frequency, because I think we just changed frequency into really this unity.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Now
yeah,
share.
we drop sometimes these words here like unity consciousness, and some people might listen and like, what are these people talking about? Like, it's really like we come from the same source. We are all one. So within the close circle of people that you surround yourself with, if you suffer, I suffer. So it's really, if you need help, I help you, I help myself at the same time. So it doesn't even, I really like to bring that also into the space, the pleasure of giving. I really receive when I give from heart. That's what I call difference between support. True support comes from the heart, and it's the same energy as receiving.
Yeah.
It's one and the same. It's a circle of energy.
Yes.
It gives more pleasure to me and more joy, and it gives more pleasure and joy to you.
Yeah.
And if I do from a program, from a trauma, from a place of self-sacrifice, because I'm afraid what happens if I don't.
Or if you want to feel yourself accepted and get the value from external by doing things.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, what happens if you don't? Like, if you ask me something and my gut feeling is like, I don't want to do it, but I do it anyway so that you like me more, everyone's going to suffer.
Yeah.
Everyone is going to suffer.
And this is exactly the gold frequency that I've talked about, the free energy. So while I was doing my portal painting, this was coming in very strongly, especially in this portal, is that the frequency of unconditional love is really, if you understand and understand, better said, if you understand and embody that the other person in front of you is just you in another body, then imagine if this consciousness spreads all over the world. War disappears, competition disappears, and we can even go into the dissolution of money, because we can start into coming into an hey, I have this, you need this, I can give you this, because there's never lack. Every time you need something, it just appears, you just receive it, because we are in this perfect flow and harmony with the universal law, with the universal order. And this is where I feel we're stepping into, and this is also what I mean with unity consciousness and infinite abundance, when you realize that everything that you need is already there, and we can step into giving ourselves from the heart without conditions. So not I do this with this and this condition, but I do this because I can't help it. It's I need, and you are me, and then this comes back to us in really unexpected ways. Doesn't have to be just with all around money. So what I am experiencing in my life is that I'm more and more seeing this giving and receiving and exchanging things, and getting away only with transaction with money. So this is also what I feel in this new earth love, is that we are stepping into this love, not only in a partnership, but also in friendships, that the love is changing. So for example, with you, I love you, like I deeply, deeply, deeply love you. And if I have a partner by my side, I don't have now, but I don't want this to end. I would want to still be able to hug you and to be with you and to be alone with you and to spend time with you. And I can also still love this other person. So I feel that also these concepts of what is love and what is partnership, and the rules are being broken now, and we are adapting to these new rules. And I think that is also one of your purposes why you work with men. Maybe you want to jump in now into this freedom and love and the union of that in the new way of being in the new earth.
Yeah, gladly.
Yes.
So glad you're asking. So a little bit of a framework, like what I believe is that our purpose is, like what we give to the world, is always related to our personal story. So I had a lot of trauma around relationships from early childhood. From attachment theory point of view, like the way you connect with your other sex parents, so in this case my mother, is influencing a lot my relationship with women. And so I didn't have an ideal childhood, without getting too much into detail, but I was really, really insecurely attached, which means I didn't believe that I could be with someone and be myself.
Same here.
This is the deepest wound, and the men that I'm working with, they have that same thing. They believe I can either have freedom, autonomy, sense of self, or I can have love, connection, and a relationship. And that is an impossible choice. It's an impossible choice between exchanging an arm for a leg. We need both. So through my own, let's say, healing journey and understanding that it is just a projection that I'm doing from my mom to all the women that I'm meeting, not only in a romantic sense, but just every woman that I meet. That's why I do also this podcast, to create more trust, because we can always go more. That there is this collective wound of manipulation, of pretending, of using sex as leverage, and many other things that are really, it's time to not break them, but to melt them and come back to what makes love and life beautiful, and that you can actually be completely free and loving. And so that the triangle that you were just like mentioning, from trust, love, and freedom, it all comes together. So when I understood that, and naturally also the clients who were coming to me, even when I still studied to become a hypnotherapist, we did like case studies. So there was mainly men coming to me, and they all talked about their relationship struggles and challenges. And I saw the common patterns there. So the idea of uniting freedom with connection from a masculine point of view, from a man's point of view. This is basically the clients that I'm working with. So men who come to me, they are already bored, let's say, or beyond dating on Tinder or other dating apps and just sleeping around for the physical pleasure, and they want more depth. They want a real connection. But the moment words like commitment, responsibility, relationship,
they're like, get me out of here.
Yeah. then the fear is coming up.
Yes.
And I really don't like that word commitment issue, because it implies that there's something wrong with you. I like to say commitment fear, or like fear of commitment, which comes from a place of what is actually commitment. Like, the most people believe that commitment means there's a template, yeah, like a script. This is how
rules.
Yes, with rules. Yeah. And I also believe what you said, that the dynamics of relationship are changing big time at this point, that there's rules that you have to do once you say, I'm in a relationship with you now, in a romantic relationship. And some of them you might like and others you might not like. So it's really this thinking of sacrifice,
because it's conditions.
Yeah.
This is still conditioned love.
Yeah, it's not about love. It's about creating a structure.
Yeah, we think is love.
So commitment, in my definition, which is one of the first things I'm giving the clients that I'm working with, is that commitment to someone can only come from a commitment towards yourself, which means understanding your boundaries. Yeah, my course that I'm doing is all about boundaries. So, and boundaries are what is you. For instance, I said I like apples more than banana. That's already a boundary. I like the color green more than the color pink is already a boundary. I like to sit that close to you and not that close to you is also kind of a boundary. So anything that makes you feel aligned with yourself, where you don't have to stretch and bend to fit in, is a boundary.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest issues in this boundary theme, or in the triangle theme, is the communication, right? And what you are really good at as well is in communicating what you need and communicating your needs. Because what I think a lot of men and women have an issue is really in being honest and communicating what they want. So even when you meet a woman or a man to say, hey, listen, what are your intentions? Like, what do you want from me? Like, what is your goal? Where you want to, what do you want to reach in with this connection? And I think if we would agree from the beginning and listen, what is it, what we want, then a lot of things would fall away. A lot of problems and issues would fall away, because we think that we know what the other is thinking, but not yet. Not yet.
but I agree with you, but in the way I am approaching it, also when I help people to get to that point, the communication is really the last step.
Okay.
So it's 3 steps to just really quickly wrap it up, maybe for what I'm doing as a mission, let's say. First of all, you need to know and become conscious of what your boundaries, desires, needs, and wants are in the first place. So I first help men to discover that, because most of them have no idea. And you have this trauma of over adapting, people pleasing, fawning, whatever you want to call it, like creating something that is not you to belong, to survive. Then it's very, very common to not know who you actually are and how even to connect with that actual you. And that is very scary. That's super scary.
Yeah, I was there many years.
Yeah.
Still there.
So first, the tools that help you to uncover and really become familiar with yourself. The second stage is what I call stepping into the hero mindset, into the king mindset, and bringing up the belief system that you actually deserve what you found in step 1.
Yeah, amazing.
Because if you just know, oh, I really like to have this kind of relationship. But then it's like, okay, the moment I meet a woman, I don't dare to express it because I don't even believe that I deserve what I found, because I have a sense of inferiority, or my
Yes.
sense of
Unworthiness.
self-worth and value is not there. So really stepping into that king energy, into that hero mindset of like, yeah, I deserve whatever I desire. That's the second step.
That's big.
It is.
That's
It's
big.
actually
Whoa.
where the hypnotherapy, where the one-on-one sessions are really, really coming in nicely, because all the beliefs that are limiting you, they come from trauma, they come from
Yes.
good reasons.
Yes.
And to uncover what is behind it, because there's nothing inside of you that wants to harm you. Everything wants to serve you, even though you don't see it that
I
way.
know.
And to realize like, oh, thank you, my dear protector part, for creating this fear bubble around me to limit myself so that I could survive in that situation,
Yeah.
that situation. It's time to let that go and step into the now, where I don't need these coping mechanisms anymore. This is really one of the biggest shifts. And then the third part is learning this is more like technical, how to speak from heart, how to speak
Nice.
needs, feelings, and strategies, how I say it. Letting go of this vertical thinking of like, I'm either above or below you and I need to fight to go back on top, competitive thinking, and so to come to a horizontal way of communicating, where conflicts are not something bad. They just mean that you have been diving deeper and deeper into connection, so that it could actually come to the surface, so you can heal it together, you can come to a place of understanding, and then go deeper, or realize like, oh, okay, we got into this point together, but it's really not matching anymore and we need to go separate ways. Both are reason to celebrate, because it means that you learn more about yourself, which is what relationships are all about.
Yeah, I think exactly this is to grow together. And when you come to a point where you cannot grow together anymore, and it's not I water you, you water me, and we grow together and we build something bigger than us. And I think here as well, the triangle is it. We need to bring that in again. Well, I had this realization in Mexico with the symbol, which is the infinity sign, but with another part in the middle. So a three infinity sign. And I realized that the divine love, the new earth love relationship cannot function. It cannot function if you don't bring in this third energy, which is that both of the parties have to have their eyes focused on their purpose and on their mission and of what they love to do. And if one of them is not there, the relationship won't work, because we still need to develop ourselves individually. But if both of them have their eyes on this third energy, you can call it whatever you want, God, purpose, universe, universal love, or just simply something bigger, being of service, then if this happens and both of them are in their purpose, in their moment, in their present moment, with the eyes on the top of the pyramid, then something beautiful happens, which is where really we can create amazing things. It's such a powerful constellation, where when the masculine is in their masculinity, in their divine masculine power, and the feminine is in the feminine power of magnetizing and being the creative channel of these ideas that are there for everyone in the universe. She's the channel, she brings it in, she magnetizes it, and then in this triangle force, the masculine executes them. And it's such a powerful constellation. And I feel that in this new earth, there's more and more of these very powerful couples coming together, and that those will be literally the ones that are going to change things big time, because there's infinite abundance there, there's no limits in creation there. And this is a realization that I had with this threesome infinity symbol.
What came to me there, like when I pictured it, is like the masculine being the container for the feminine in the like couple relationship to bring in this beautiful energy, and then the big infinity sign around it is the tribe that is even a bigger container, so that there is not this like, I consider it even very lonely just having a couple.
Yes.
Which is a divine constellation. It's
Yes.
beautiful. But it needs more.
Well, that's an amazing extension. Thank you for that.
It needs tribe, it needs community, it needs belonging, it needs a social, loving system where you have always an abundance of support.
Yes.
An abundance of support. So the way of living that I picture is really like having that little house in the middle of nature in a big area with other tiny houses of my friends, family, brothers and sisters, and then some like big community building where we can always also come together. So you can always have this incubator of either yourself or with a partner with a core family, but always within a tribe, a village, if you want. That gives you, that's something I wanted to bring up earlier. Money becomes playful when you understand that it is not actually synonymous for safety. That's what the old system makes us believe, is the more money you have, the more safe you feel. And because most of us are not mature, in a sense, like my definition of maturity is having an active relationship with your fear. Yes.
What is fear? I love the acronym. You remember what fear means?
It can mean forget everything and run, or face everything and rise.
And false evidence appearing real.
Yeah. In a sense, it's one of the 4 core emotions: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And fear is terrifying. Most people have fear of fear. So being afraid of being afraid, which then means being paralyzed and getting completely into trauma response instead of taking mature adult decisions. And because of that separated world that we live in, where we created that illusion that by having money to buy insurances, to buy fences, to bring them around our houses and all that, that this would mean safety, we completely disconnected as a collective, in the Western world at least, from what makes us actually feel safe is belonging, support, and community and connection. Something that I like as a picture is, if you have like €1 million or dollars on your bank account, you go to a fancy restaurant and you order the most delicious 5-course menu, but you're sitting there by yourself eating on one hand, or you're just visiting a friend and he or she says like, hey, I made a soup, would you want a bowl? And they give it to you with just like a loving smile. What would you rather choose? So I'm not against money, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful golden energy that can just flow. But when we understand that safety comes from belonging, support, connection, and love, and not from money, then money becomes just one other tool to play with.
Yes, I totally agree. I'm realizing it right now at this moment when you come visit me, is that I am right now observing the false evidence appearing real of a kind of a lack mentality that I have, which I call the prostitute mentality, which is the step before stepping into the queen energy, right? And when you are alone and you are in this frequency, it is a very difficult sometimes to realize that it is not real, right? That this is a layer that is keeping you from seeing the truth. So the moment you step into my reality, I have the opportunity to it's like this veil, this layer starts dissolving through simply the unconditional love that you give and your presence. It starts dissolving so that I'm able to see clearly, okay, hey, it's okay. I can look at that fear, but I am now supported and held to do a bold decision and take action to overcome that fear by taking action in the complete opposite direction and fucking step into my queendom, which is what we are about to be doing also collectively. And the solstice energy right now is really bringing us there into the kundalini rising to the third eye, so that we can see clearly what it is that we need to do, where we need to go. We have much more clearer vision of what is it that I need to do, and what I need to let go of. And I can really feel this shift now in the energy. So super grateful that you are visiting me, and that I'm able to be myself around you, because that's the most important thing as well, to be able to be vulnerable and yourself. And I think that is one of your biggest gifts, is that you allow the other to open up and to see their fears without judging them or wanting to repress them, so that they can come up and can be alchemized and yes, elevated into another octave and to another frequency, which literally allows you to see another reality. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thank you for that mirror. I see myself also rather like a mirror, that you are the gift, and I just show that back to you. Like, you see yourself, and discover yourself, while I
love that mirror, baby.
Get the pleasure, while I get the pleasure of discovering you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And by discovering you, I discover more about myself at the same time.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, maybe
I feel also
the
like
portal is coming down already. It's on falling on us. To wrap it up, maybe just, if you would say, how do you feel right now in this present moment, and if there is a last message that you would give our tribe to sum this session up.
I'm feeling joyful, connected, a little bit exhausted from all the information that came through. Like, I see you as a very big channel for me also. Like, I'm listening always to every word you're saying, and they are vibrating inside of me. And sometimes you have this like very feminine, crazy big portal where there's downloads coming and coming and coming, and I'm trying to like take it all in. And I guess after this, I need a little break to integrate and sit with it, so it can really smoothly find its place, like the Tetris blocks finding their place. Deeply grateful that I can be here, that we can do this for the first time, actually sitting in front of the camera. Like, so far, I've only done this podcast online.
I've never done a podcast, so it's my first time.
So I'm really hoping that the audio quality is good, that the video quality is good, that you're getting something out of this. Really, this comes from a place of pleasure in giving, and really hoping that you're taking from all the many things that we have been touching on topic-wise, that you find one or two or maybe three golden dominoes that you can place and start evolving and let it sink in, planting the seed, so to say, for your own journey. And I would be super glad if you share with us also in the comments, like, what did you take out of this? How, like, is there something you would like to add or contribute? Is there any request for future episodes that you would like us, for instance, to talk about? Or I'm bringing always women on this podcast. It's me and beautiful women who choose to come into that space, and every single one of you has something unique to share, to create that big idea of divine feminine in different aspects. So yeah, that's I guess what I would like to share in the end. Anything from your side?
Yeah, I'm just very honored and grateful that this is the first time that you allow me to share my voice. I've been struggling with that for a long time, to be vulnerable, to share myself, to share my gifts. So this is the first time I do this. So if anyone out there is thinking on starting something and not allowing themselves to do so, I encourage you to just simply start by doing something small. Even if it's just a video or a voice note to yourself. This is how I'm starting now, because really your frequency and your unique tone and your wisdom is so needed. Just as you are now, perfectly imperfect. This is the realness of you, is the integration of shadow and light, and the dance with shadow and light is just you, how you are now. So this is my message, because I'm going through that at this moment as well, is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to thrive for perfection. You are already there. You are like you are for a reason. And there are people that need you to be who you are right now and need to hear your story. So this is my message for you. And yeah, very honored to be here with you.
Same. And what I would also like to just touch on briefly, today starting, maybe you have realized that also I was a little bit more nervous than usual. So doing it anyway.
Yeah.
What you just said. Like if there is a message you want to get through, when I started my first YouTube channel, I was like doing, for the first video I wanted to upload, I did like 10 attempts and like again. And I got super obsessed with creating something, like some idea, what needs to be perfect, and I'm trying to reach that and creating so much pressure for myself. And just like, I was nervous in the beginning, but I still have that trust that whoever is listening, like now, even on the end, if you're still listening, there's a reason for that. That something that is just authentic about the way we speak, about what we speak about, that is resonating with you. And even if it's just one person listening to this, it's already pleasure for me that we could have this conversation. Exactly. And having the camera right here and the microphone right here is just a bonus.
Exactly.
For hopefully one or more people who resonate with it as well.
Also, my course is like that. So in my portal painting course, the portal, creating a portal to your inner artist, I wanted to do it perfectly 3D way, but it happened to the guidance was completely different. So you see me in my completely imperfect course, you see my cats running around, you see me crying, you see me having literally ego deaths, you see me birthing my mission, you see me judging, you see me being me completely. And this is where In Between Layers was birthed, because I received a clear message to show the whole process, not only the good side and showing myself perfect and all illuminated. No, to show myself as a fucking cosmic bitch, and as sometimes having a really bad day, and showing all of it, showing my whole self, and the real and raw and authentic process. So authenticity, I think, is a big word that where we can like sum it up, is if you start being authentic, listening to how you feel at this moment and being authentic with the other, then a lot of problems will start dissolving. Yeah. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much,
You're
Kyaron,
welcome,
for coming
Ra.
here.
It was a pleasure.
Blessings to all of you.
Blessings.
Namaste means the God in me greets salute to the God in you.
And I say it in Mexican, which are my roots, which is In la kesh halaken, I'm you and you are another me.
Beautiful. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next one.
See you.